Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about some of the miracle stories that are happening right here in our own city, in our own state, every day. My name is Tony Kausha, and the title of our show is Tony's 50,000 Coincidence Miracles. Please note, this show is not about religion, and we're not trying to change anyone's religion, and we're not trying to get you to join any religion. It's just about miracle stories. I don't know of any religion on the planet that doesn't talk about miracles. That's why religions begin, because they have something that's telling them there's really a God. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to just talk about miracles and leave the decisions about all that up to you. So we don't care what religion you are. We just want to talk about miracles. If you are an atheist, I think you'll enjoy the program as well, although I can't guarantee you'll remain an atheist very long after you hear many convincing stories, coincidence kinds of stories about miracles. You can email me your own stories if you wish. We'll try to use all we can on the show. I can't guarantee we will, depending on volume and time, but you're welcome to send your stories on to us, and we will mention them when we can. You can send them to the following email address. But please notice that if we do use your story, we won't mention your name. We'll keep you anonymous. And we suggest that in your story, when you send it to us, don't use your correct name. That way anyone listening will not be able to figure out that it was you that sent the story in. The email address you can send your stories to is very easy to remember. It consists of 2 words and 3 numbers. The first word is Tony, spelled Tony, and the second word is and, spelled A-N-D, and the numbers are 777. So once again, the name is Tony and 777 at AOL.com. Well, let us begin. Hi, everyone. This is week number 45, and I thought I would clarify a few things, especially we're starting a new year now. This is our new year and the first recording for the second year, 2021. And I thought I would clarify some things and stress some things because many of you have heard the 44 weeks, but some of you have not. And I've stressed some of these things in the past. But let me just explain a little bit about coincidence miracles so we can all start off this year with some clarity. Certainly, we know what coincidences are. 1 or 2 things happen which confirm something else that happened. And sometimes we can get 3 things that are confirming something that happened. So that's what a coincidence is. And when we think God did it, when we think that God is sending us these coincidences, then we call them coincidence miracles because everything that God does is a miracle. Now, what happens when we're sharing a life story or we're sharing about, in my case, 50,000 miracles I've noticed in my life of 50 years, when we're doing that, well, some of the things we share as coincidence miracles are really earth-shaking things that shock people, and people look at them and think about them and say, that's really unbelievable, I can't believe that happened, that's too amazing to believe, I can't believe your story. So I get a lot of input from people about those that are so unbelievable. And then there are others on the other extreme that are coincidence miracles that I know are coincidence miracles, but they don't even rattle or they don't even make any sound at all. Instead of being earth-shaking, they're quite the opposite. And many people say, well, that's not a miracle, or that happens to me too, or that's not really something I could think that God bothered with. So we have these 2 extremes. So today I'm going to share some of the non-earth-shaking kinds, because the bottom line of all of this is if you're talking to God every day and you're asking God what to do every day, and you start seeing coincidences after you do something very simple, but you know that God told you to do it. Perhaps he says to call somebody, or perhaps he says to buy a certain thing at the store when you're shopping for your weekly groceries. He inspires you what to do because you're asking him what to do. And then you get a great coincidence that shows that he's confirming you did the right thing. or you see a license plate with a number that confirms you were in the right place at the right time, a lot of people might say, well, that's not a coincidence miracle. It's not something God would bother with. But you're going to know, and you're going to be positive because, and this is the test of it all, you asked God what to do. You did what God told you in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. That's why a lot of people say follow your heart. Well, if you ask God a question and you get an answer in your heart or in your mind, or you get an idea right after you ask Him, then you know that's Him answering you because you just asked Him. And then if it's a very tiny episode that's not very earth-shaking to the rest of the world, you still know it was a miracle. So I'm going to share some of those today so we can get off and start the year off with the reality. If I ask God something and He inspires me to do it, and then I get a coincidence that implies He's patting me on the back or patting me on the head and saying, good job, a good thing you did what I told you, then those are coincidence miracles, okay? All right, so the first one I'd like to share with you is one morning I was awakened at 4:44 in the morning, exactly 4:44 in the morning. And those of you who have listened to the last 44 weeks know that that's a very significant number. It's mentioned in both of my books. And the most significant thing that happened at 4:44 in the morning was the passing of my wife in a very miraculous way, which is in book number 1. But a stunning story surrounded by miracles. And I was awakened at 4:44, and several things have happened right after that. So that's why that number is very special, and it's very significant. It means a great thing. It's a reminder of the Blessed Virgin Mary. That's what that number means, just as 777 is a reminder of God. So I was awakened at 4:44, and I said, Lord, why did I wake up at 4:44? And He inspired me to go to Facebook and LinkedIn and to post a couple of things. This was in the Christmas holiday, and post a couple of things to encourage people to buy our books as gifts for people, Christmas gifts for people. And so I got up at 4:44 in the morning, and I did some studies which indicate that a lot of people get on and look at things certain days of the week at certain times. So I knew if I could get this on by 8 o'clock, we would get a lot of readership. So I got to the computer, warmed it up, sat down, and said, okay, Lord, what should I write? And I got inspired by Him what to write, and I was doing LinkedIn first. And as some of you may know, on LinkedIn, when you're posting something, a red warning comes up when you've exceeded the number of words or number of letters that you've typed, and it'll say you're over the limit. So I typed what He told me to, and then I said, what else? Is there anything else to add? And I kept doing this. It took quite a while, but I wrote what He said to write. And I noticed when I got all done that I didn't get any red warning, and this was a coincidence. I noticed that. I don't normally notice those things. I just, when the red message comes up, well, then I stop and reduce some of the words. But I didn't notice anything. But I was inspired by Jesus to type a couple of more letters and see how far I was from the end, because I was just typing what He told me to, and I didn't know how close I got. Well, it turned out, and I'm glad that Jesus did this for me, because by listening to Him and following His inspiration, it turned out that I was exactly, precisely at the limit. In other words, when I finished typing what He said to type, I didn't know it, but one more letter, just one more keystroke would have put me over the limit. Now, to those of you who have talked to God and asked God what to do in your life, you know that God is perfect and God is precise and God is remarkable and beyond definition. So this was a great miracle for me, because I got up at 4:44. I did what He told me. I asked Him what to write. And when I got to the end, I would have just posted it and be done with it, and I wouldn't have seen any miracle except the miracle of waking up at 4:44 in the morning. That clearly was a miracle for me, because I was talking to Him. He could have woke me up at 4:45 or 4:46 or 4:40, but no, He woke me up exactly at 4:44. And now I typed exactly what He said, and it came out exactly to the one more keystroke would have put me over the limit. So that's a coincidence miracle in many ways. The coincidence of waking up at 4:44, the coincidence of getting on LinkedIn at the right time, the coincidence of typing what he was telling me to do. I kept asking him, sentence by sentence what to write about promoting the book that he told me to write. So I was promoting his book, and he was telling me what to say about it to encourage people. And then when I get all done, I asked him if there was anything else. Did I finish everything? Is it ready to send? And we should always do that because he might have a PS or something, so you can't assume you're done. So I asked him, and what he told me to do was check and see how many spaces were left to see how much more I could add. And when I checked, I was precisely there. If I had typed one more keystroke, I would have been over the limit. So I hope you're seeing that the bottom line is this. When you're asking God what to do, and you're doing what he's telling you to do, and you see a coincidence like this, that's how you know it's a coincidence miracle, because all miracles come from God. In fact, if God did not get me to check and see how many strokes were remaining, I would have never noticed this coincidence miracle. The coincidence of being exactly, precisely at the limit before I pushed post. Okay, so I hope that helps you with the rest of the year and in your own life to notice that these things that people say that's very minor, or it's just an accident, they're miracles because you asked God what to do, and that's the key. If you're not asking God what to do, well, then it could be a miracle because God is, breaking into your day to help you anyway. So it could be a miracle that you notice a coincidence, even though you didn't ask God. But for sure, with absolute certainty, if you're asking God questions and you're doing what he's telling you, and then you see coincidences, you can ask him, was that a miracle from you, or was that just an accident? And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what he'll tell you. And this, I should stress this now too. When you see a very minor part of your life like the one I just described that turns out to be a miracle, what that really tells us is, number one, that God is so involved with us and loves us so much that he actually comes all the way down from heaven, he dwells with us, and he gets himself involved with each particular thing. Keystrokes that you're typing, key by key, that matches the limit. That's how he gets so involved with things that we might say are inconsequential and minor, like what time do you show up at a meeting, or what time did you call somebody and they say, wow, I was just thinking about you, or what time you sent a Christmas card to someone and what day they received it on. We think, gee, that's such a minor thing, Tony. That can't be a coincidence miracle. But I'm trying to tell you, after 50 years, what that tells us is that he's always there. When you're cooking and he says, don't put any more salt in. When you're watching television, he says to change the channel. He's involved with every iota, every speck of our life. And that's how precise he is, because if God loves you and God is God, you would expect that his love would be involved in every aspect of your life because he knows everything. Right? He wouldn't pick and choose when to love you, but he loves you in every single thing you're doing, while you're driving the car, while you're putting your shoes on. So that's what I'm trying to get across to people. I know after 50 years, he's involved in everything I do. He tells me what clothes to wear when I'm getting dressed. I ask him what shirt to wear, which shoes to wear for the day, and what belt to put on, etc. Where to go shopping, what store. And he does get involved and loves being involved in every single aspect of our lives. So I hope this encourages you for this new year. Ask him what to do about everything, and you'll be ecstatic most of the day. Well, we've just experienced another coincidence miracle, all of us just now, because I looked at the clock and I see that I'm at the point where I need to stop recording today for this broadcast, and I had not timed myself before this. I just began the show as I normally do. So we're ending with a coincidence miracle right now on the spot. God bless you all, and I will talk to you all next week.